From an underground mine that once bestowed precious metals, a new discovery more valuable than silver or gold, the body of Erin Corwin.
But looking into John, he had told us that he and Erin had married young. They met in high school. He joined the Marine Corps. They moved to a place where they didn't know anybody.
During his conversations with the sheriff's office, John Corwin admitted that his marriage to Erin had run into a few roadblocks.
They had some rocky portions in their relationship, as with most marriages, especially at the beginning when you're talking about a young marriage.
In addition to suffering through a miscarriage, the couple was struggling financially. But things were looking up. At least John thought so, especially since Erin was pregnant again.
It had issues earlier in the year, but they were working through them and had gone to marriage counseling. And that he believed she was pregnant, and he was excited about that.
But Erin was cheating on John with his friend, fellow Marine and next-door neighbor, Chris Lee.
He had stated that they had maybe kissed a few times in the past. Nothing further had occurred between them. They were very good friends with each other at one point, and that his wife had found out. She was really upset.
Over time, we started getting closer, having longer conversations. And then we kissed a few times at her place. And then my wife, she found out and she blew up.
Later, when pressed, Chris Lee admitted that the affair had progressed beyond small kisses and hand-holding.
He claimed that it was physical, that they in fact did have sex, and that he knew she was pregnant at the time of the murder.
Meanwhile, Erin's husband had found out about the affair, but thought it was all in the past.
John was under the impression that was done, and they were moving on with their life, expecting a new child, and had no reason to believe that anything other than would have existed.
But the baby that Erin was carrying was probably not her husband's.
Erin Corwin had told her friend that she believed she was pregnant and that it might be Chris Lee's.
Those objects that the search team found at the bottom of the mine shaft, their intended use suddenly became crystal clear.
We believe that he brought the torches and the propane tank to try to cause some sort of a fire to destroy evidence at the bottom of the mine shaft.
Oblivious to all of this, Erin Corwin had met Chris Lee in the middle of that dusty field, excited about her future and hoping for the best.
It was her belief, unfortunately and sadly, that Lee was possibly going to propose to her.
However, Chris Lee wasn't thinking along those lines at all. His enlistment was up. He was getting out of the military, and he was moving to Alaska.
He knew that Erin Corwin was pregnant, and he knew that it could be his child. And he knew that Erin wanted to move to Alaska with him. And he knew that he had led Erin on to believe that they could have a relationship in Alaska. And he also knew that his wife and child were not going to take kindly to that.
And so, Chris Lee chose the only course of action he could think of.
He had to get rid of her. In his mind, that's what he had to do.
So what actually happened then when Eric and Chris met up in the desert?
It was kind of a tense conversation. He approached her as she was facing away from him, crying, put the garrote around her neck, twisted it, and turned to where he was in a back-to-back position and hung her over his back.
When Erin was dead, Chris hurled her body down a nearby mine shaft, along with the car tires and other objects that he needed to hide. Chris Lee then took off to Alaska, but he couldn't hide there forever. Law enforcement caught up with him, and he found himself back in California facing a judge and a jury.
He was charged with first-degree murder with the special circumstance of lying in wait. That is, he essentially waited for an opportunity to act, made a decision to kill. Once he saw the opportunity that he could kill, that's when he did it. The first day of testimony, I could characterize him as sad. I think he did try to cry, but it didn't work. There were no tears. It was just crocodile tears. I made my own garrote. I actually went to Home Depot and bought the items and made my own, and I obtained a dummy. And I had him get off the stand, and I had put the garrote that I made into his hands and had him demonstrate how he killed her.
And Chris actually testified that he had strangled her for 5 minutes. So is it true? I understand that during the simulation, you actually cut the time in half because that visual was so intense.
I saw jurors crying. There were tears in their eyes. A lot of jurors wouldn't look at him anymore as he was doing it. They were looking at the ceiling.
So what were you trying to get across to the jurors?
It was crucial to show that this was premeditated. He thought about life, he thought about death, and he chose death.
After this horrifying glimpse into the mind of a murderer, the jury found Chris Lee guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.